knives, machetes, saws and shears, multi-tools, shovels, swords, axes, spears, hatchets, and tomahawks. If it cuts, snips, slices, or chops, Midway USA has it. Find great gift ideas in our huge selection of pocket knives and other everyday carry folding knives. Make a statement or create a family legacy with one of our top-of-the-line hunting knives. We've got a great selection of manual and electric sharpeners too. With just about everything for the outdoors, check out MidwayUSA.com. Midway USA brand product designers have one straightforward goal: develop high-quality, technically sound products and deliver them to customers at reasonable prices. If you are immersed in the shooting sports industry and pay close attention to every single detail, you know our products are built right and stand up to everyday use. Who has shooting mats and range bag systems to hunting clothing and just about everything for the outdoors? Log on and shop 24/7 with super fast shipping. MidwayUSA.com.
Welcome to DSC's Campfires with Larry Weishuhn, a unique blend of hunting, fishing, wildlife conservation, and the outdoor lifestyle. DSC's Campfires is brought to you by DSC, Conservation, Education, and Advocacy. Hornady, accurate, deadly, dependable. Taurus, award-winning revolvers and pistols. Stealth Vision, high-tech, precision-driven equipment for today's modern hunter. Vineyard Max, deer attractants created for the aroma of success, game feeders, and other hunting products. Red 55 Winery, signature wines from Emmy Award-winning country artist Miranda Lambert, owned by Rick and Beverly Lambert. And the Choctaw Hunting Lodge, home of some of the finest hunting in North America. Now, here's Larry.
Mr. David Cotton, I understand you are headed to a very special event today. Today being December the 6th. Tell me where you're headed.
Well, I'm headed to playing a Toys Are Tot golf tournament down at Pinnacle Club. It's on Cedar Creek Lake. And actually, this is my 4th year to playing that. And got a good buddy that lives down here on the Pinnacle Club. And his wife is always so gracious enough to go buy the gifts for us guys. And, it's just a great thing to, help out kids that are less fortunate to, families are struggling and trying to pay for groceries and bills and don't have a lot of money for toys. And the Lord's blessed me so good. I don't mind helping out with that.
That is absolutely fantastic. It is a golf tournament, and but you told me a little bit when we were together this previous few days ago a little bit about that. How many toys do they distribute, and how's all that handled?
Well, down here, I think the thing that me and you were talking about is the big one they have up in Dallas. That Channel 8's a big part of. They distribute. They're going to try to distribute 70,000 toys to kids in the Dallas and Fort Worth and Denton area. But this down here, it's on a whole lot smaller scale. We'll have a full field of golfers. So there'll be 144 golfers. So there'll be at least 144 toys that are going to be available.
Oh, cool.
And then with the donations and stuff, after that, they could easily, take in 200 to 300 toys, because I know a lot of people bring more than one.
Absolutely. What a great deal though for everybody involved, particularly the parents that are having a hard time, because I remember those years ago when I was struggling with my little girls and all this kind of thing, and any little help sometime made Christmas so much more special, and it sounds like that's what you guys are going to be doing today. I want to talk to you about several different things while I've got you on the phone. Now, you and I've gotten to know each other a few years ago now through Luke Clayton, and you and your dad, Edgar, have become two of my favorite people in this entire world, and I can't wait to spend more time with you in the future. You guys, this year, your dad particularly has had a pretty darn good year. It started off, we got to go turkey hunting. We didn't do any good at turkey hunting on the Choctaw Hunting Lodge there in Oklahoma, but you guys got to go back and hunt bear, and that was during the archery season. Tell me a little bit about that hunt.
It was. We got to go up, like you said, to Choctaw and Man, me and Dad are so thankful for you and Luke putting us on that turkey hunt. Like I said, we didn't get any turkeys, but that's not what it's all about for me. It's spending time with my dad, because he's 85 years old, and I know I'm not going to have him a whole lot longer. Of course, I could go before him, but yeah, we got up there on that bear hunt. It was the 1st of October. And I know you and Dusty had talked about bears that y'all had been Dusty had been seeing on trail cam, and as soon as we pulled up, Dusty met us at the car, and he said, "Guys, I want to talk to you." Me and Larry had been talking back and forth about trail cam pictures, and he said, "I've got a plan." He said, "I don't know if you're going to like it, but we've got a plan." And I said, "Well, Dusty, whatever kind of plan you got, I'm sure it's okay." He said, "These bears, there's been 2 to 3 bears coming into this bait site every single morning and every evening, pretty religiously on the same time every day." He said, "And what I want to do is I think I could sit you and your dad in the same stand and y'all both kill a bear." He said, "I know that's not the way you are used to hunting, but let's try it." So we did. We got out that first morning, and he put us in the stand a good 30, 45 minutes before you could ever see anything. But what was neat about it, Larry, is we were sitting in the stand, and my phone starts buzzing, because I've got it on vibrate, silent,
Right.
And it just kept buzzing. I'm thinking, who's trying to get a hold of me at 6:15 in the morning? And it just kept buzzing and buzzing. And I thought, well, I better look at it. Something's not right. It's Dusty, and he's seeing bears on his camera that's sending pictures to his phone. And he's like, "David, there's 2 bears out in front of you on the bait side." And I'm like, "Dusty, I can't see them. We can't see anything. It's pitch dark." Long story short, it starts getting lighter, and the bears are still there, and Dad just can't get on them in the crosshairs, those black. And what I had forgot, it was a big mistake on my part. There is a lighted reticle on that scope, and I didn't turn it on, but he couldn't see the crosshairs on, black crosshairs on black bear. You know all about that.
Been there,
so they
yes,
walked.
sir.
They walked. But that afternoon we got to go back, and it was I say brutally hot. It was only in the 80s, but it was hot. We got in the stand, and we sat there for about 5.5, 6 hours, and right before just that perfect time of lighting. Of course, I had that reticle lit up now, and I saw movement on my right side out of that stand, and it was a big bear. And I told Dad, I said, "Dad, there's a big bear coming to the bait." I said, get on the bait and stay on the bait. He's coming."
Yes, sir.
And that big bear came around, and he come up and went right by. They had a bunch of peanut butter smeared all over a barrel. He went right by that, and they had a pile of, I think, donuts or something over there. That bear went over there and just sniffed those. And Larry, you've seen the video, and I honestly think that bear was leaving. And I don't know if I said "Daddy shoot" or he shot, but he shot at the perfect time. Perfect placement on that bear.
Oh my God.
And it went maybe 65 yards. And I'd never heard the death moan or death roar, whatever it is
right.
that you call it. But that bear did it. And of course, we were just tickled to death. And then it hits me. I'm like, "Daddy, get up." I said, "Now it's my turn to hunt." So we still had probably maybe 25, 30 minutes of legal shooting light. So we switched chairs, and I'm sitting there, and Larry, it's not maybe 15 minutes at the latest. Here comes another bear. Did exactly the same thing, exact same shot. I made a good shot on him.
Yes,
Dad's
sir.
bear went to the right. My bear went to the left. And, of course, Dad's bear, I think, ended up weighing 347 pounds.
Yes,
and
sir.
mine was just like a 150, 160-pound bear. But, it was very special. And Choctaw is just a very special place. I've only been up there twice, but it's already become a place that I want to get back to as much as I can.
We're going to make sure that happens, because I think y'all are going to be there in January when we're doing a buffalo hunt with Steve Hornady, and I think y'all may be trying to shoot an oryx or so. What you didn't mention is that the blind that you were in was basically a solid blind, basically designed for maybe 1.5 persons. are people,
Right.
and you also had Jeff Rice in there with a camera who was filming all this, and people can actually see all this happening, the shots and everything on a Sportsman's Life there on either going to Carbon TV or to our YouTube channel, which is the same thing as Sportsman's Life. That bear, I was supposed to be there with you guys, and unfortunately, a portion of my body decided I needed to be somewhere else. And so I was sitting there or laying there in that bed, trying to find out what was going on the entire time. I was texting back and forth to Dusty and said, "Tell me what's going on." I didn't want to text you guys because I thought, oh, they need to be looking. They don't need to be, they don't need to be trying to answer my questions, which were about 10,000 of them, I think. But when I heard that, that both y'all had killed bears, and I remember saying that, if you shoot one, you better not stay in that blind because there may be another one there. But those two bears, yours is what I would call an average Oklahoma bear. I know that they get really big, and as illustrated with the one that your dad shot, and occasionally they get even a little bit bigger than that. But to me, of course, I love bear hunting, and we talked about that death moan. I've taken a lot of bear. I'm not going to give a number, but I've taken a lot of bear taken across North America, and in all the bears that I've taken, I've actually only heard that moan one time, to where, and I know a lot of times people say, "Oh yeah, you need to listen to it." Well, you do, and it is an eerie sound if you never heard it, kind of thing.
Right.
But golly, what a fantastic hunt to be there with your dad when he shot that absolutely big bear, and then you take a bear as well too. Oh my gosh! You talking about a lot of prayers answered.
Right. Out of the same stand within 15 minutes. But I tell you the other thing that was just absolutely wonderful about that was having Jeff up there. And I've told Jeff how much I appreciate him filming that. But Larry, he was such a positive, because I'm telling you, we were sweating. It was hot. We sat in that blind almost 6 hours. And like you said, it was like we were in a sardine can. But Jeff just kept, "Hey guys, those bears are showing up. Let's just stay patient, stay positive." And man, he was such a trooper. And to have got that on film for me to have with Dad, it was just really good. Yeah.
Well, we got two big bears in the salt. They're at the taxidermist. You and your dad have been hunting up in Colorado for elk for I can't remember the number of years. I know your dad started hunting up there a long, long time ago. Basically, they're pretty much sound like around the Pagosa Springs area. Correct. Tell me about that hunt, because that's an annual hunt where y'all go up and usually a couple of friends and maybe another family member or so goes with you. But tell me a little bit about the hunt there, because I know your dad ended up shooting a really good elk there.
He did. Dad, if we can get Dad a big whitetail, he's gonna be on top of the world. But no, we did. We went up there. It was the second rifle season, and we actually Dad has a place in Pagosa, but we actually hunt. It's a little place called Cromo, Colorado. It's about just about halfway between Pagosa and Chama, New Mexico. We hunt on a private ranch, and I had mixed feelings about that, because I've got a really good friend that lives up there, and I always stay in contact with him about, what's going on in archery and muzzleloading and first rifle season, because we always hunt the second rifle season. Right. And I called and was talking to him about it, and he's like, "David, I hunted the first season hard. I mean, hard." And when he says hunting hard, I'm talking about you hunt hard. I don't hunt that hard. But anyhow, he said, "David, I didn't see a elk. I didn't see a cow. I didn't see a bull. I didn't see anything. Matter of fact," he said, "I think I saw 8 squirrels and 4 rabbits." And you know what that means. It was bad. So, the drive up there, I'm thinking, I had all kinds of mixed emotions. I'm like, man, that's absolutely terrible. They didn't have a whole lot of rain early in the spring, but they started getting rain late. And then I'm thinking, David, you've killed elk on that ranch before. Don't get so discouraged about it. But we got up there and went out, and it wasn't exactly the weather that I would hope for. It was cool in the mornings. It was like upper 20s, and it would get up to like 50, 52 during the day. I really wished it would have been, colder in the teens and high in the 40s and, just like the weather you think is supposed to be up there in Colorado, but it wasn't. So we went out and hunted. First day, everybody saw elk. Every single day we went out, it's just they weren't legal or they were, wasn't on the property we were hunting. So I had Dad, and he wasn't in the exact. I mean, anywhere you set out on that place is good hunting, but it's where we've killed elk before, and he wasn't in one of those places. So I told him, I said, Dad, I want you to go over there. I'd been going over there Saturday morning and Saturday evening, and I went back Sunday morning. And I said, you're going over there Sunday evening. I'm done. I'm going to put you over there. He said, David, I can't climb up in that stand. And I said, Dad, we're going to take a chair and we're going to set it right at the bottom of that stand. And I said, them elk ain't going to know no difference between that chair and the stand. No. And the wind was right. I took him over and set him down, and I drove around probably about half a mile from him and got set down. And it wasn't very long after that, boom. And I'm like, oh, man. That sounded like good. So a few minutes later, I hear another boom, and I'm thinking, well, I wonder what that's all about. And so it's getting almost dark. I can't hardly see, and so I just get in my cart and I drive back around there and pull up. By that time, I'm there. It's dark. He's got the flashlight on. He's got the biggest grin on his face, and I'm like, tell me what happened. He said, David, that elk came out, and he said, I got my stealth vision binoculars. You talk about those in a little bit, but he said, I got those binoculars out. I ranged that. And then he's got the stealth vision scope that they've actually burnt him or etched him, whatever you want to call it, a turret that's on top of his rifle. And he doesn't have to deal with mil dots or MRAD or any of that. It's in yardages. So he just ranged it 346 yards. He turns that turret to 340, I think he set it at 350 yards, and he let it go, and he hit that elk, I think because he set it a little bit higher than what it was. He hit that elk in the back, and it dropped. But here's what's crazy about it, Larry. The second shot, Dad said the elk acted like he was going to still try to get up, and he said it was in tall grass, and he said, David, all I could see was his head. He shot that elk in the head from 346 yards. That's what the second shot was all about. It wasn't a monster bull. It was a 5x4, but we've already had some of the steaks, and they're just absolutely wonderful.
Absolutely. To me, any elk is a good elk these days, particularly, and if he's, as long as it's a legal bull, it's a trophy beyond words as far as I'm concerned. And of course, the eating on him is so good. Yeah, you mentioned the stealth vision thing, and of course, you guys have been out there to his facility and talking about Dr. John McCall. That's the first time that anybody, he is a world-renowned eye surgeon. It's the first time anybody in the optics company started with the brain, went to the optical nerve, went to the eye, and then went forward. Most of all the other scopes that are out there were built and said, okay, how do we adapt it? You got to adapt it to the eye now. So the work that he's done, and of course, Joe Cunningham, who works with him on a daily basis as well, too, and more or less takes care of the company, because Doc's still very much involved in eye surgery, and he's now, I think, even a commissioner for the Texas Parks and Wildlife Department. So, and the regent of the University of Houston. I mean, the list just goes on and on. But the optics that they produce are just phenomenal, and they can learn more about that by just going to Stealth Vision. And you and I have played around with those scopes a little bit too out there at Becker Bottoms at a 500-yard target. And let's we just got off of a deer hunt. Now, I am supposedly known as Mr. Whitetail. And I want to tell you something. Mr. Whitetail got his tail end handed to him on not a silver platter, a gold, or maybe it was a platinum platter this week. Because everything I thought I knew about with the way the weather was, I thought we'd see a lot of deer because it was cold, cool, rainy, all those kind of things. It was a tough hunt. We just hardly saw anything, and we know kind of what's there as well, too. So what was your opinion of this week when it was all said and done?
This whole season, Larry, has just been I don't want to say difficult, but just different, I guess is the, from the rutting, you think the bucks are rutting, and then, they're not, and then they're back to rutting. And we saw that when you were out doing some rattling. I mean,
Right.
I think you only rattled in one mature buck out of all that time.
Yes.
Sometimes we didn't rattle in any, but yeah, I mean, the last week we spent, I guess, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday morning. I'm like you. I would have bet anything I had that we would have just seen deer after deer after deer.
Oh my gosh.
Just based off of the weather conditions. I mean, overcast, cloudy, cool, and no, it's, when you get down to where you're going to decide where you're going to go hunt by flipping a pin, and whichever way the pin points, that's the way you're going to go. It's been difficult. Oh man.
It has
but
been.
Go
I'm
ahead.
just going to say it's been a really interesting season, and interesting in quotation marks. Usually by now, because of where I hunt, I've taken at least 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 deer off of different places scattered around, and thankfully, finally, I was able to take a doe there at the ranch. But we just were not seeing a whole lot. And you're right, it got down to one morning. It was raining pretty hard. You took that pin and you said, okay, if it points toward to the door, we're going to go hunt. If it points back to us, we're going to stay here and stay in the lodge, tell stories, and drink coffee. Well, it pointed to the door and we went out, but it was a tough morning. What was interesting on the 4th of December, and we're doing this, I think, on the 6th, if I got my dates right. But on the 4th of December, we had the DSC Foundation Christmas party at the Rock Island Gun Sale or auction company, and I had not been there longer than about 5 minutes when I'd already had 6 different people come up to me and said, "Where are all the white-tailed deer? We're not seeing anything." And these are guys that were hunting everywhere from South Texas to the Panhandle of Texas to East Texas to, almost out toward, the Abilene Lubbock area. And basically nobody was seeing deer. And particularly in the last few days when we finally got the weather that all of us hoped for. So I have no earthly idea. All I know is that every time I think I know something about those blasted things, they teach me a new lesson, and I got to start all over again.
Yeah. I don't know. The only thing I'm excited and tickled about is, we're on the MLD program, and
Yes,
so our hunting season is not over that first week of January. We get to hunt all the way to the last day of February. So hopefully those old mature bucks will get up on their feet and they just, we talked about that. There's so many acorns in the woods.
Oh my gosh.
And, they have their girlfriends and they have their food, and they don't have to move that much. But hopefully later on in December and January and February, they'll get up and get back to hitting the fields and feeders. But yes, if somebody asked me, I guess that's what I'd have to sum it up as. It's been different.
It has been different. I told somebody the other day, I said, I've been hunting white-tailed deer on my own now for about 70 years. My dad started putting me out on a stand by myself when I was 6 years old. And this, as I can recall, is about the weirdest, strangest, quote unquote, interesting year that I've ever experienced. I was rattling up bucks when I shouldn't have been rattling up bucks. I was not rattling up bucks when I should be rattling up bucks. Seeing buck fawns still with does, with their mothers, and usually when that doe starts coming into estrus, first thing she does is chase that little buck fawn away. And you see these little buck fawns roaming around by themselves, just not knowing sure what to do. And I've not seen any of that this year, so I don't know. but it is a learning process, and you just have to learn and adapt. And with that said, you have no idea how appreciative I am of you and your dad for me to be able to be out there with you guys. And I'll tell you the truth. Even if we weren't hunting, I'd want to be there with you guys just to spend time with you. So thank you so very much for that great opportunity.
Well, we're just, I tell you, I don't tell you enough how fortunate we are to, I grew up watching you on TV and just loved every minute of everything I got to watch. And, I almost still have to pinch myself, I'm actually having a hamburger, having a Dr. Pepper, having a hunt, me and you in the woods rattling. I still can't get over that Mr. Whitetail is at my ranch. And,
oh my God.
I know you tell me and Dad all the time how much you love it, and we know that you do, but we're so blessed and so fortunate to have our paths to have crossed, and
Amen.
Amen. I hope we have many more years.
That is the plan. Now I know that you've got a plan to where you're going to win this golf tournament here in just a little bit. I've kept you long enough from it to this morning, David. I will catch up with you around the campfire. One thing I do want to remind folks of is we got the DSC convention coming up in Atlanta, Georgia, February 6th, 7th, and 8th, and look forward to seeing everybody there. And if you want to learn more about that convention or anything with DSC, please go to biggame.org. David, go win that golf tournament and give me a call a bit later and tell me all about it.
Okay, will do, buddy. Thank you.
DSC's Campfires with Larry Weishuhn has also been brought to you by The Crown Bar in LaGrange, Texas, the Texas Wildlife Association, Double Nickel Taxidermy, and Burnham Brothers Game Calls.